Welcome to Emergent Talks. This is spontaneous, unscripted. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't have any pre-packaged ideas to convey. I'm just going off of a theme that came to me as kind of a jump off point. So the theme has to do with two things, okay? The notion that dance like nobody is watching, and then also live like everyone's watching. So those two things, and what I'm feeling as a result of that tension, okay? The no one and everyone, okay? Dance like no one is watching as advice, and then live like everyone's watching you. So one is like freedom of expression, and then there's like the accountability, integrity. So how do we reconcile things? That's what's coming up for this. How do we reconcile that? Because both are valid. And they seem to be almost opposite. Dance like nobody is watching. Okay, let go of your inhibitions. Don't care what other people think. Express yourself freely. Embody and express your uniqueness. That kind of stuff. Then let's look at live like everyone's watching. So treat everything you do like everyone's watching, which is kind of true because our thoughts aren't private. There's the idea of the Akashic records. Even in Christianity, it's God's watching everything. But basically, our thoughts, nothing is private. Everything is recorded or even visible on higher planes of consciousness, let's say. So how do we reconcile that? I feel like it has something to do with the fact that we are a fractal of everything. We're a fractal of God's source. We're ultimately all one. And once you realize that, that collapses this personal weirdness around defending your ego identity. So that's one way where they collapse into one, where you can dance like no one is watching, but also live in that integrity, like everything you do can be visible or is visible in some way, is recorded in some way. And then another way to reconcile this is dialing back the awareness, like in self-inquiry. And you get to that essence of, I'm pure awareness. Or even as people like Ram Dass say, like, I'm nobody. Basically, just awareness without any phenomena happening. The awareness of all the phenomena. And with that view of self, or realization of self, it's the same thing, too, because dance like no one is watching is being the dancing, or dancing is simply happening. Let the dancing happen, because you have no identity ultimately to defend. You are pure awareness allowing this phenomena of dancing to happen. And this dancing happens to be the human vessel that has your name on it, basically. So that reconciles both too. Because ultimately everything is pure awareness or pure potentiality, pure consciousness. That's the essence of it all. Because if you get caught up in the, higher beings are watching, or God as this paternal entity is watching, or the Akashic records like some karmic arbitration system exists, you're still thinking in terms of like personal judgment. You're wrapped up in like the guilt and the fear of being judged. It's another level of the judgment trap. But ultimately, we are all the same thing, pure consciousness. So you still realize if you're doing shady stuff, if you're causing harm to others, obviously what goes around comes around. That's obvious. But once you really realize the essence of pure awareness, that's us all. I need to slow down my speaking because I'm getting excited. And part of what I'm doing here with the Emergent Talks is treating this exploration as a mindfulness exercise. So I'll slow down and give you and myself some pauses here. So I was at pure awareness. Okay? When you really realize pure awareness, it will change how you act, but not in an analytical way, not in like I'm afraid of consequences, so I'm going to sneakily change my behavior. It's nothing like that. It just automatically harmonizes your behavior. It's not like a punishment thing. It's not a forced thing. It's a simple harmonization through realization. So that's where these two things reconcile. Dance like no one is watching. Live like everything you do is recorded, and live like, everything you do is broadcast to the world. You reconcile them both by realizing your essential identity as pure awareness, as the I am presence, and knowing that's the same essence that everyone shares. When you drop into that I am, that pure presence, it's not personal. It's not even yours. That's the shared beingness. You're dropping into that shared beingness that's the essence of all. And from there, you can allow your body to dance without inhibition. And it's all good that everything is seen, because ultimately it's all love and it's all accepted. But the cool thing is, or the thing is, that you need to get to that place in order to realize that you can forgive yourself, you can let go of the judgments, and you can let go of the attachments. So let's say you have trouble with the notion that everything you do is visible. Are you hiding something? Do you have behaviors that you feel guilty around, like addictive behaviors, gluttonous behaviors, lustful behaviors, like the 7 deadly types of sin type stuff, or any kind of attachments? Is it because you're attached to that? Let go, forgive yourself. And the more you let go and forgive, and then realize yourself as pure awareness, the less charge addictive tendencies have. I've noticed this within myself. The more self-realization I realize, the less charge any addictions have, the less clinginess addictions have. I'll have a beer every now and then, and I'll just have one beer. I'll do that every month, something like that. And it's just one beer. I'll enjoy it. And there's nothing addictive about it. I'm not craving it. I don't want to do it too often, but if it comes, I do it. That's how things tend to go once you do this kind of work. Now, I'm not recommending it if you're in recovery or something like that. You're on your own path. Find your own way of doing it. I'm just giving you an example of this, because things tend to dissolve in the light of pure awareness. So it's a matter of getting into pure awareness, acquainting more with pure awareness, and then noticing what dissolves. And I don't want to become too preachy or prescriptive here. I feel that coming on. I feel that that tendency to give a lesson around how to get into the pure awareness, how to get into the I am presence, and what you might experience from it. But I can't say that for you. I can't prescribe it for you or tell you what it's going to look like. So I'm noticing that as a tendency. So I'll let you just sit with that, of what it means for you to experience pure awareness more often or on a deeper level. What it means for you to acquaint with that I am presence, that essential identity that we all share, that source of all creation. Yeah. This is why I feel like questions are more important than answers, because answers tend to be prescriptive and based on assumptions that things, and questions are more things that open up newness and things that can point toward the great mystery. So yeah, feel into that. Feel into that yourself, of how you can acquaint more with it. And if you have any resistance to that, if you're oh no, my core identity is this body, or my core identity is your name, or I don't know, maybe it's a materialist perspective that beyond this body, nothing exists. Like just explore if you have any resistances too, and do some earnest self-inquiry. You can look up self-inquiry, or I'll give you a little process here. Well, that will be the last thing we do, okay? So I want to do this without being too like memorization based. So let's take the assumed notion of identity, okay? I am Stephen Parado. You know, that's the ego claim. I just did a little dance for that. I am Stephen Parado. Okay. If I write my name somewhere and I look at that, is that me? No, of course not. If I take that identity as Stephen Parado as a bunch of roles or a bunch of descriptions, like personal qualities, is that me? Like the roles. I'm a writer, you know, personal qualities. I'm devoted. I'm whatever. That's not me either, okay? The body, okay? Is this body me? Well, this body has been continuously changing my whole life, and I'm getting at it, I've seen and I've witnessed this body changing. So if I'm witnessing the changing of this body, and there's been an awareness that hasn't changed, it's been the same awareness witnessing the change, is this body really me or some kind of extension of me? Same thing with the mind, okay? The mind, okay, thought patterns, beliefs. Same thing. They're changing, they're coming and going. I'm observing this. So that brings us to, okay, what has been the unchanging phenomena my whole life, my whole experience, ever present in all experience and unchanging in all experience? Awareness itself, pure awareness, the witness, right? Okay? And we don't have to get into like beyond the existence of this body and all that. That could easily get into conjecture and that kind of stuff. But from everyone's experience, your experience, the unchanging thing, the only unchanging thing that's been ever present in your experience has been awareness. Right? That's the only thing you can directly validate. And that would be the core of your identity that you can directly validate. And you can validate that more fundamentally than even this physical reality, you know, this speaker here. You can't prove that it existed like before or after your life. You can't. There's no way to prove it. It takes a leap of faith. I know this sounds crazy, but it takes a leap of faith to think that reality, let's just say physical reality, existed before your birth or will exist after your death. That requires a leap of faith, right? Like, throw away all your notions of what reality is. It requires a leap of faith, you know? And that faith might be very valid if you use the context of science as we know it, mainstream science as we know it. It might appear to be very, very, very valid, but it's still a leap of faith because you cannot directly validate that. Think about that. But what you can directly validate is the only thing that has been ever present and unchanging your whole experience, your whole life, is pure awareness. Everything else has been changing or came in and out of your reality. And that's profound. And that is a place to start with anything. That is a good starting point because it is the most fundamental thing you can directly validate. So that's why self-inquiry is so important. That's why pure awareness is so important. Mindfulness, presence is so important because it is the foundation of everything. Everything else is fleeting or some kind of leap of faith conceptually. And this is why the most masterful teachers focus so much on presence, mindfulness, awareness, noticing your thoughts, because that's it. Yeah, and we'll end there. But before I hit the stop record button, just feel into that question again. How can you deepen your experience of the I am presence, the I am, the pure awareness? How can you deepen your experience of that? And if you have any resistance to it, just notice that resistance. Notice the thought patterns of that resistance, or like the arguments in your head that's resistance to it, or even the feelings of resistance towards it. And that's it. Love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.